readers and writers of the internet, welcome back. So this video I actually originally was not going to do. It is going to be top 10 books that I'm most excited for coming out this year. I wasn't going to do this video originally because I don't really buy newer books because they come out in hardback, they're more expensive, blah blah. And I'm just like, what's the point if I'm gonna have to wait a year or two to buy them? But then I kind of thought about it. I'm like, I can still tell them what I'm interested in, but just wait a little bit to read it. So this is kind of more of books that I'm interested in that are coming out that I will eventually get to read in a year or two once they come out in paperback. So I do kind of apologize that I won't be getting to these books this year or anything like that, but that's just kind of how it is. I am sorry, I wish I could get to these books this year as well, but we're just gonna have to kind of wait a little bit, which I'm fine with. It's fine. It's fine. And just an FYI, these books are not in any particular order. It's not from least to most favorite or most to least anticipated or anything like that. These are just random order. Yeah. Escaping 11 by Jerry Chisholm. This book actually came out December 8th of 2020, so this technically isn't a 2021 release, but I've only started to see this one in 2020 new releases. It was actually in, I believe, one of the Goodreads YA releases of 2020, so I'm still counting it. I didn't look into it. I wasn't sure if there was a delay in the publishing or anything like that. I haven't seen it in the bookstore. Maybe I just wasn't looking or anything like that. But I'm still counting this as a release in 2021. But this book is about a girl who lives in floor 11. Which is the lowest floor that you can live into, caste-wise. You're forced to fight, you're forced to kill, forced to live. And then I believe floor 1 is the luxurious floor, and everyone, lives peacefully up there. And then everything changes one day when a boy from the top floor comes to her caste. And yeah, that's basically all it said. This book kind of reminds me of The High Rise. I saw the movie, I didn't read the book. Not a lot of people have read the book or seen the movie, or at least none that I've heard or seen or talked about or anything like that. I only watched the movie because it stars Tom Hiddleston. He's my favorite actor. I actually enjoyed it, but the caste system was based on floors, and I found that pretty interesting. It also reminds me of another movie. I just blanked on what it's called. If I can find it, I'll put a picture of it up here. But it's based on floors. You're randomly assigned, I believe, every month or something like that. And then this tray or thing of food just comes through the floors, and the lower floors, they barely get any food because the higher floors take all the food. Yeah, I don't remember what it's called. I just remember watching a YouTube video about it. I haven't actually seen the movie, but this book kind of gives me those vibes. It's really interesting to me because it kind of takes place in a dystopian world, I believe, and this is the only place where you can live. And I kind of like that the caste system is done floor-wise. It's something kind of different. In YA, especially YA dystopian / fantasy, so that's kind of nice. Overall, when it comes out in paperback, I'm gonna be reading it. Lore by Alexander Bracken. This one came out actually January 5th of 2021, so it's already out, but it is a 2021 release. This author did a Darker Shade of Magic, or The Darkest Minds. The Darkest Minds. I read a chapter in that book. Didn't really get into it, returned it, gave it away. I heard the movie wasn't that great, and then the other people who read the book, they kind of didn't like it that much, but this one I'm really interested in. If you know me, I've kind of stated that I really love Greek mythology, and I'm excited for Greek mythology books to come out that are a bit more serious, I guess. Because when you get to the, knit and grit of it, Greek mythology and the tales specifically related to it, they're very dark, they're very tragic. So I want more of that in the stories that I read from mythology. Like Hadestown, which became a Broadway show in 2019, and then it had to shut down because of Corona. But I believe June of 2021 it will be coming back to Broadway, so that's good. But I did watch it on YouTube, and it is a Greek myth. Absolutely loved it. But anyway, I just went way off topic. I'm sorry. This one is about gods and goddesses who are forced to come down and kind of fight. And then if a human kills the god or goddess, then they get the power. And there's also kind of like a family feud going on. And I believe Lore, the main character, is the last original. It's either she's the last original or there's someone else that she teams up with that's like the last original, and everyone else has been killed and their power is taken over. But yeah, this one, it looks extremely interesting. I love the cover, love the concept. I've seen really good reviews for it so far, and evidently it's a standalone, and that's always nice. Everything about this book just excites me. The Infinity Courts by Akemi Dawn Bowman. This one comes out April 6th. This one is kind of hard to explain in a nutshell, but I'm going to do my best. So basically, the main character is murdered right before she goes to a party, and then she wakes up in the afterlife, which I believe they call infinity. And the AI that's on Earth, that's like in everyone's phones, just kind of taken over infinity and is now essentially the queen there, kind of ordering around humans like humans ordered around her on Earth. And then the main character and rebels try to take down this AI. I'm not sure how much of that made sense to you guys. It's kind of confusing, but it's a really interesting concept. And this book right now, as it stands, only has like 33 ratings. So hopefully that number goes up, because I feel like this is going to be one of those books like everyone's talking about at one point. The cover is absolutely beautiful. The concept really interests me. And that's saying something, because I'm not really particularly a fan of like AI, kind of like sci-fi-esque, like Player One or any other like virtual reality VR stuff where you go somewhere else and like an AI overlord or anything like that. It's never really interests me that much, grab my attention, but this one kind of does. I'm not sure how heavily this is going to rely on sci-fi. I hope not a lot, because sci-fi is not my favorite of the genre, but that being said, this concept sounds really interesting. It deals with the afterlife, which I always find fun, so I just can't wait to get to it. The Forest of the Stolen Girls by June Her. This one comes out April 20th. This one is a murder mystery, which in YA and actually just thrillers in general, like even adult ones, are really hit or miss for me. Honestly, I either love them, like where the credits sing, or I really don't, like Sharp Objects or Then She Was Gone. This one though really grabs my attention, and I also really love the cover. It's really pretty. But this girl, Hawaii, I believe it's pronounced. I'm not entirely sure. I'm not staring at the name, but I think I'm adding all the pieces up there. She and her sister, a few years ago, they get captured, and then they are randomly found next to a crime scene with their memories kind of gone. All they can remember is that their captor wore a white mask. So they move away from the town to escape that. But then they find out, I believe 13 other girls in the town have kind of gone missing. So her father, who is a detective, they go back. He goes missing as well. So then she has to align herself with her sister, who she hasn't spoken to in a long time. And they kind of have to like dig up these memories from when they were captured. This one sounds really interesting. I've always kind of liked it when you can't really rely on the main character. Like even if that just relates to being morally gray, and you're like, are they gonna, do this? Is that above their code? Is it below their code? Like, just not being sure about it, not having a clear black and white kind of, morality, I've always kind of liked. And that also kind of ties into, like memory loss and stuff like that, not really being clear, remembering stuff like differently. I kind of like that. I can't read untrustworthy character. I can't read it a lot because sometimes they're really tropey, and I can kind of see where it's going. But this one sounds really interesting. Like I said, the cover is absolutely beautiful. The plot, it seems a bit different from what I've read before. I just have to wait for it to come out in paperback. These Feathered Flames by Alexandra Overly, I believe. This book comes out April 20th. This one I read was a retelling of the Russian folklore, the Firebird. I don't know anything about that, so as far as I'm concerned, that doesn't really mean anything, but if you know anything about that, feel free to drop a comment down below, kind of explain it to me, because I'm a little dum-dum, so, but this book, it follows two, I believe they're twins, yeah, they're twins, and one of them is kind of kept in the castle, kind of, preparing to be queen. The other one is taken away to kind of learn more about her magic and hone her skills and stuff like that. And then one day the queen is killed. And now they're kind of forced, I believe, to try to find out who killed their mother, what really their roles entail, and really who's going to get the throne. This one, I'm not going to lie, reminds me of quite a few YA fantasy books. The first one that comes to mind is Dividing Eden. I believe that's what it's called. I have not read the book, but I know it centers around, I believe, twins who kind of have to fight for the throne, who's really going to get it, that kind of stuff. The other book that this reminds me of is Three Dark Crowns. I have not finished the book. I read 1 or 2 chapters in it. It was actually pretty good. I might pick that book up again in paperback. I'm not entirely sure. But anyway, it's, same thing. Sisters fight for the throne, that kind of stuff. So this one kind of sounds familiar, but it still interests me. It is a retelling. I don't really go towards retelling because then there, certain kind of rules. But this one seems like it doesn't really follow that, because I believe it said that the aunt, the one who trains the one with magic, she's the Firebird. So I'm not sure if in the original tale the Firebird is a person, or if it's a thing or magic. I'm not entirely sure. It just confuses me, so I'm just gonna drop that this is a retelling at all. But yeah, even though this book sounds like a few other books, they kind of ring other bells in there, I'm still excited for this book. I've always loved the competing kind of trope, I guess you could call it. I've loved that, and I love subplots of mysteries in my YA fantasy, and this is one of the only YA fantasies on this book. This is kind of off topic, but as I was going through the list of YA books that came out this year, there were a lot of witches, a lot of books about witches. Witches are not my favorite magic system to read about. I don't particularly like them. I've tried reading, I'm just it never clicks with me. I'd rather have a bit more of an original magic system. I'm not calling those authors unoriginal. It's just I feel I've seen it all. Harry Potter is similar to another witch book and that witch book and that, but they're all kind of tied. And I get they're all kind of different, but I've just never clicked with witches. But yeah, so this is one of the only YA fantasies on this book. The rest are kind of dystopian or more thriller based with this one. So that just makes me a bit more excited for this book. So yeah. The Gilded Ones by Namina Forna. This one comes out February 9th, so not a long wait. And this one, I actually read through the description, and it's quite a lot to take in. I don't think I could sum it up So I'm just gonna read it to you. So that's what this thing here is. That is my laptop. Dekka is doing a blood ceremony, but then her blood runs gold, the color of impurity. So that leads to danger for her. And one day, a mysterious woman comes to her with a choice. You can either stay in the village and submit to Dekka's fate, or leave and fight for the emperor in an army of girls just like her. Dekka decides to leave the only life she's ever known, but as she journeys to the capital to train for the biggest battle of her life, she will discover that the great walled city holds many surprises. Nothing and no one are quite what they seem to be, not even Dekka herself. So this one really interests me, but I do fear that the magic system in this is going to get a bit confused because it kind of seemed like a lot to take in. There also seemed to be a lot of subplots, kind of, but I'm willing to, push those aside because it just seems so different. This magic system does seem a bit unique. Which is always really exciting. I love reading, magic systems that are unique, species that are like unique, like, Fae is like a species. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? This cover is absolutely beautiful. I love like the painterly style. I've always loved that style. I will continue to love that style. This one is just beautiful, beautiful, absolutely beautiful. There's not really much I can say about this book. I'm excited for it. It's a lot to take in, but I'm ready. In like a year or two, I'm ready. The Prison Healer by Lynette Nani. This one comes out April 13th. This one is about a girl that has spent the last 10 years in prison being the healer. There's a plague roaming around the city, and I believe, she's tasked with keeping everyone in the prison kind of alive until they're needed. And then the rebel queen is captured and placed in the prison, and the main character is tasked with keeping the woman alive, essentially, until she can face trials. And these trials involve the 4 elements of earth. They're like physical trials, and she knows that the rebel queen will not survive. And then one day she gets a note from her family saying, "Don't die, we are coming." So she volunteers in the queen's place. The only problem is no one has actually survived these trials. And of course, there's a romance in there as well. It doesn't look like to be a hate to love because it said a boy fighting for her heart. So I don't think there's any really, tension or anything there. If I had to guess, I would say he's like a prison guard, or he's most likely another prisoner. But yeah, this one really interests me. I'm not gonna lie, the cover is not my favorite, but this premise just grabbed my attention. It seems really unique, and I know I've said that about a lot of the books, but this one especially, in terms of like the setting, the build up, the actual plot itself, it seems like something different. I hope that this book is a breath of fresh air. I'm gonna have to kind of watch the reviews a bit more closely on this one, but hopefully this book is kind of, what I'm hoping for, what I'm thinking of, that kind of stuff. Yeah, I'm just gonna have to watch this one closely. Daughter of Sparta by Claire M. Andrews. This one comes out June 8th. This one is another it's Greek mythology essentially, which I was really excited to see. This one hasn't been getting a lot of buzz like some of the other ones, like, the Gilded ones or lore or anything like that. I haven't seen this one around. I just kind of stumbled upon it. I was like, ooh. But this one essentially is about a young female Spartan warrior, and then one day her brother is captured by Artemis, and 9 things have been stolen from Olympus. And if she cannot get back these 9 items, then the gods' powers will weaken, Earth will fall to chaos, and her brother will die. So helping her on the journey is Artemis's twin, I believe, Apollo. So I can kind of see like a relationship forming there, which really excites me. Apollo isn't my favorite god, but I do like him enough. I enjoyed him in Lovely War, so I'm sure that I will enjoy him here. This book, Greek mythology, interesting, seems really good. What else can I say? House of Hollow by Crystal Sutherland. This one comes out April 6th. This one I have kind of talked about already, so I'll make this kind of quicker. But this one essentially is two girls, are younger sisters. They get attacked. They don't remember anything. All they have is like a little scar on their neck. And then one day, Iris' sister, Gray, goes missing, and a bunch of weird things start to happen to her. Like a body falls out of a ceiling, other stuff like that. And she has to follow these very weird kind of like breadcrumbs to find her sister, and she has to dig up memories. This one, I would almost go as far as to say this is a dark academia book. The setting seems really dark. If I'm not mistaken, this takes place in a house. Hopefully it's kind of like the house from American Horror Story. But I'm not entirely sure. That part isn't made entirely clear. The synopsis kind of focuses on the mystery aspect. This one kind of sounds like other books, but it's wacky and weird enough in the sense of what she finds to stand out amongst the stuff. So it's kind of like a weird combination of things that I think are actually really going to be pulled off and can really work. If I Disappear by Eliza Jan Brazier. This one actually comes out January 26th, so not that far of a wait or anything like that. This one I am kind of iffy about because it hasn't come out, but it has a few more ratings than, other books because it's, coming out soon. So I assume a lot of pre-releases have been let out and arcs and stuff like that. This one, I believe, and I could be wrong when I say this, but I believe it has a 3.5 already. Not the best score, especially for a new book, so that's kind of worrying for me, but I'm still interested in the concept, and unless this drops, like, really, really low, I'm still going to be reading it. I love the cover. I'm not going to lie to you, though. When I saw it, it reminded me of, I just blanked on the movie, but it's the vegetable guy from the movie with the mouse with the huge ears. It's really creepy, but I grew up watching it and I absolutely loved it. If I can find the movie and find the vegetable character, I will put him on the screen for you. But that's what it reminded me of. Almost made me laugh. It's just, it is what it is. But this book essentially is about a podcaster whose name is Rachel. She ends up going missing, and the main character who listens to Rachel a lot, she decides, hey, I'm going to pick up this mystery. I'm going to make Rachel proud because Rachel does, true crime mystery, stuff like that. She's like, I'm going to find her. And then she starts to realize that Rachel isn't the first person to go missing on this ranch, and she won't be the last. So, I'm not gonna lie, this one kind of reminds me of Sadie. I have not read Sadie, but it gives me those vibes. Podcast, missing girl, someone trying to find it, So, hopefully it's not like that. I will be getting to Sadie this year, so in the future I can tell you, or I can just read reviews and see what people are saying and stuff like that. But this one does seem interesting. It kind of seems a bit, familiar to other books, not just Sadie, but just, in general thrillers and YA mysteries and stuff like that. And when I say that, I'm not trying to be mean or anything. That's just, I read it. I'm like, I feel like I've read something similar or seen something similar. But I'll probably scope through the reviews a little bit more and see what other people are saying. But this one, nonetheless, I'm still excited for. I'm not sure how big it is, but this one, because it is a podcast, sounds like it's going to be a smaller book. So it does sound like it's going to be an easier read once it comes out in paperback. So we'll just kind of have to wait and see. But yeah, this one comes out this month, so I assume it's going to get a lot of traffic and stuff like that. And there you have it. Those are my top 10 new releases of 2021 that I am most excited for. Again, these were in no order, they were just random, but I hope to get to all of these at one point in time. You know, they seem really good. All the covers are beautiful. All the premises are good. We got 2 Greek mythology books. It's a beautiful year. It's honestly a beautiful year. You know, 2020 is behind us somewhat. So hopefully we can start fresh this year. I did have a good reading year in 2020, so I'm hoping for the same year in 2021, if not better. Fingers crossed. But yes, if I mentioned a book on this list that you're excited about, let me know down in the comments below. Or if there was one that wasn't on your list, you're like, hey, I think you would like this, let me know down below. I will check it out on Goodreads, which is listed down in the description below, like always, as well as all my other social media accounts. And, you know, I'll let you know what I think about the premise and stuff like that. Thank you as always for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And follow me on all my other social medias. It would mean the world to me, such as Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Those will be listed down in the description below, like always. And I will see you in the next video. Bye!